All right, part 2 of this video is starting with the '05 STI head gasket job. We got the heads back from the machine shop, and they said the scoring on the cams was too much for them to even want to try to fix. So we had to get new heads, and luckily I had a buddy with some heads. I'm gonna get these things cleaned up and then installed in the car. I'm sick, so sorry about my voice, but here's head number 1. Looks pretty decent. I'm just gonna get it all nice and cleaned up. And then head number 2. And we'll get these both situated back on the block. Block's sitting right here. And then obviously put the exhaust on, the intake, and then turbo, clutch, and then time it. And then should be ready to go back in the car. But at least you get a good look at these newer heads I got pretty lucky with. I got both heads cleaned. That's one on the ground. Yes, obviously it's dirty, but I'll clean the rest of it on the bottom. All right, I got that head cleaned and this head cleaned for the STI block. I'm currently about to pull the oil pan off. I'm gonna see how this looks inside, make sure there's no damage or broken oil pickup or anything. You can hear it nicely breaking loose for me. Should pop off any second now. All right, just got the oil pan off. There's some debris in the oil pickup, but not much. No wiggle. I'm gonna inspect for cracks here, but so far it doesn't look too bad. All looking pretty good, actually. Just a little bit of debris I'm gonna have to remove. All right, I just got the inside of it cleaned, all the silicone's removed. Now I just need to clean the outside, clean the oil pan, and then reinstall it, and then I'm done with the bottom side. All the rods look good, everything in here looks clean, and no breaks in the oil pickup. Alrighty, I got the oil pan bottom of this block cleaned up, ready to go. Currently working on the oil pan itself. I'm gonna get that all clean on the top and then reseal this. I'm probably gonna get the heads on next, I think. And then this block will be about ready to start putting, obviously once the oil pan's back on, the headers and then the intake. Currently working on the driver's side head, or the, I guess, block. See how dirty it is right now? I'm gonna show you this in just a minute or so when I get this all cleaned up. And there she is all cleaned up. Looks significantly better. Camera catches more than you can see with the eye pretty much, but nice and smooth. About ready to install a head gasket. I'm gonna go ahead and clean the other side though first. And this is the current other side. As you can see, it's significantly worse than the other side was. All right, look at that difference. Pretty significant. Next step, head gaskets and get these heads on. All right, I got both sides of the block cleaned, and then I forgot they were actually doing head studs. So I'm gonna go ahead and install them. They're new inbox ARP 2000s. These ones you don't need gloves to install. So we'll go ahead and put those in the block, and then head gaskets next. Just pulled the oil pump off, and then I installed the head studs on each side. But I was gonna show you this. This is kind of crazy. Oil pump came off nicely. It looks good inside. Look at the oil pump. See what's wrong? Look at that. Bolts backing out. That one's loose, and that one's loose. So we gotta replace this oil pump, getting a fresh one in here. Kind of crazy that it's backing out. Alright, this morning the oil pump I removed last night, and I just cleaned the surface, just letting it dry. I'm gonna go ahead and install the new oil pump in a moment. New oil pump for this car is an ACL, and luckily enough these things come with a new front crank main seal, or front crank seal. And then usually they come with an O-ring as well for right there. I'm not sure if this one did or not, I'm gonna have to look. And look at that, came with new bolts and the new O-ring. So I'll go ahead and silicone this up, put this O-ring on the block right there, and then get this oil pump nice and tight. Alright, I got the oil pump on, the front main seal looks good, and then of course throw on the front crank gear, and the front's done now. So I gotta do the water pump, and then of course I'm gonna install the heads, and then a new timing kit as well. Alright, I have now re-siliconed this oil pan. I'm gonna go ahead and flip the block over and drop it on. Alright, there we go. Oil pan is back on. All the bolts are nice and tight. Now, finally, I'm gonna actually do the heads like I've been saying. Alright, just install the driver's side head gasket. Gonna go ahead and install the driver's side head after I make sure the bob's nice and clean. Get these torqued down. All right, driver's side, head is on. I'm gonna go ahead and install the washers and then some ARP assembly lube. And then you put assembly lube on the bottom of the nuts and you put them on and then zip them all down and then torque them to 30, 60 and then 90. This might be some of the boring stuff, but all the washers are on, you can see. Now to install the ARP assembly lube. Alrighty, all the lube's on. There's the last one down there, not focusing very well, but I'm gonna go ahead and put the last nut on. And now just gonna suck these down with my ratchet and then use a torque wrench and torque them all down. All right, that head is torqued down now. Hard to show off on camera unless I record with my tripod, but this head now, I'm gonna go ahead and clean the rest of this surface and then head gasket on and get this head torqued down. So like the last head, and install all the washers on all the studs. And now some of this good old ARP assembly lube. For this side, I'm gonna try to show just a little bit of this. So it's kind of hard to read, but that's sitting right at 30. Start this first one like this, nice and click. And now I'm doing 60. It's hard to see, but it says 50 right here, and then plus 10. I don't have a 60 mark. It'll be very difficult by myself like this, but I wanna see if I can do it. There was 60. Don't know if I can get this thing to focus all the way. I'm gonna try to. But we're currently at 90. That's the last part of the sequence. So I can do this one-handed. Oh. There we go. Now just 5 more times and this side's done. Okay, the engine is on the stand. Last clip, obviously you saw me torquing the head studs down. I put all the cam covers on just to hold all the cams in for now. I'm gonna go ahead and measure all these shims. These are different heads, so I wanna make sure we're in spec. So you just start by basically you grab a cam gear if these things are loose enough. These are a little bit tight, but I can still turn them a little bit. And then you're gonna put it about here, and you're gonna put a feeler gauge in here and in here. I believe that's what it's called. And you're gonna make sure it's within spec. Intakes, I believe I'm gonna set about 10 millimeters or 10 thousandths of a millimeter or inch. Sorry, I'm a little bit tired. I'm a little bit off on what I'm saying. But anyways, intakes are 10, exhausts are 8. 0.008. They're like thousandths of an inch or whatever. Anyways, gonna get those done on the intake and the exhaust, measuring them out. I got the exhaust on, just the headers on the bottom so far. We're doing a different up pipe. I have one in my shed that's good condition, so we'll get a new gasket on and then we'll put the up pipe on. But first we're gonna try to get this all handled, to get both sides measured, make sure they're all good to go, and then seal up all these cam holes. And then the only issue I've seen so far with this engine is that for some reason somebody broke a bolt off right there. So I'm gonna drill that out, and otherwise she doesn't look too bad. So we'll get, like I said, we'll get all that done. Okay, so I'm gonna start with these intakes. I'm gonna use a 0.008. I was wrong. I'm gonna go on the measurements, but the intakes, let's see. So that one, a little bit loose. Try 9 a minute on that. Perfect. Too tight by just a little bit. A little too tight. Let's see if I can put a 0.007 in there. 0.007 right there. All right, let's see if I can get this in here. So, too tight. And too tight, and okay, that one's okay, that one's all right, just these two are too tight still. I went to Super this morning, got 2 new shims. We need them for the other side, so I'm installing them as of right now, and then measuring these real quick. These are the exhaust on the driver's side. Everything else is good to go. As long as these two are smooth, I can actually put the valve covers on and finally get this motor timed and slowly put together the rest of the way. All right, off camera, got everything measured, got everything correct. So these are now siliconed on, and then the backs are good. I got all the cams good. Everything is in spec. I just set both of them down. Next, I'm gonna put the new crush washers on this bolt and then on that bolt. Swap water pump out, and then put the timing, the oil seals on all 4 sides, and the covers. Kind of get that stuff going. But she's getting there. It's very dirty on the tops here and stuff. I'm gonna spray clean and get this all clean, so I'll show you that in a minute. I'm hoping from right now to the next clip, you'll see a significant difference in clean wise. All right, next step, I got the heads pretty decently cleaned. They're not perfect, but they're much better than they looked before, nice and shinier. Got the water pump already removed. I'm gonna go ahead and put the new one on. I'm just gonna time lapse this, put the water pump on, and then the cam seals on all 4 cams, and then the timing tensioner holder, and then the cover here, cover there, and then probably end up timing this in a minute. Got all 4 of my cam seals here. 1, 2, these are my exhausts, and then 1, 2 skinny boys are my intakes, and then my Company 23 cam seal installer. He has a label somewhere around here. Yep, right there. All right, all 4 cam seals are installed nice and perfectly with that seal installer. Next thing, I'm gonna do water pump. Beautifully clean surface. There's a tensioner bracket. Install that loosely for a second. And then timing cover here. Then this timing cover for the left side. All right, I got all 4 cam gears on. Forgot to record any of this. I thought I pressed a button and I didn't. So zip all these on anyhow. Make sure they are fitting perfectly around the dowels. And she's all timed. We got the center right on, this one on, that one on, that one perfect, and that one perfect. And I just pulled it. Oh, I got to tighten the tensioner. Whoops. I just made that mistake. All right, now the tensioner is tight. I got everything else still on. Yep, all these look good. Nice and smooth and perfectly on. Go ahead and pull this pin. And I usually put a screwdriver in here and kind of pop this down just to get a little bit of pre-tension. And then we just need to put the AVCS covers there and there on. And the middle timing cover with, and I need to put this timing guide on. Looks like this. And then the front covers, and then the front, the crank gear, and then we're done. And this front is done, all timed up. All right, all the covers are on. I actually found new bolts. The ones that came with this car were not correct. So I actually found I had all the exact correct ones. So they're all in. This cover is missing one. It's the one that I pulled the tension or the clutch fork pin out with. That's sitting on top of the car. But everything else is done. Just gotta put the front, the gear on, and then the bolt in it. I'm putting the intake manifold gaskets on currently. I cleaned the ports. Camera picks up more than it actually, you can't feel anything, nice and smooth. Intake manifold is now cleaned on the bottom as well. Gonna go ahead and install this. Got the gaskets on. Looking like we're getting complete almost. Got the intake manifold on. Coolant temp sensor on. Oil pressure switch. Crankshaft sensor on. And then on the back we've got cam sensor on this side. cam sensor on that side, the oil control valve, knock sensor, coolant line, and then your PCV. And all the bolts are tight. So the intake manifold's done. Next step is probably going to be air pump stuff, because these heads are different, and then the new studs for this up pipe, and then the up pipe bracket, and then we'll put the turbo on, and then it's ready to be picked up, and then crank the flywheel, and pressure plate and clutch on, and then ready to drop in the car. Alright, air pump deletes are on for these heads, and then this up pipe I'm just swapping over the studs. So this is the old one, pulling off this stud, and this stud, and probably this back one. I'm just using the double nut method, so you put one nut upside down and one on top. This has to be farther down, and then I will tighten them together, and then loosen this one, and it should pull the stud out. And I'll do that 3 more times, and then install them on the other up pipe, and then install the turbo. And again, this is a Cobb, pretty good quality looking turbo. And look at that, I brought it broken loose. It is already hand tight. You just gotta tighten these together and then loosen the bottom one. Doesn't always work, but most of the time it does, and it makes you pretty excited. Alrighty, I got studs on. I got both here tight and here tight. I'm gonna swap out the different oil return line, I think, and this was, I gotta get a better look at this one. And then see a pipe gasket. There we go. And now time to install the turbo. Find this. Find the clamp for here. See here, that oil line actually looks to be in decent condition. I'm just gonna put a clamp on the bottom. It's a little bit loose, and get this thing done. All right, we're at that point. Turbo is on, all lines are tight. Only thing is left is valve covers, and then on the front, I think I just put the AC compressor on. I believe it's not. I think it's just sitting on the car, but she's ready to be lifted up on the cherry picker. Thanks for watching. Taking a long time, but I'm getting this thing done smoothly and as best I possibly can. Next video will be putting the clutch on, valve covers, and dropping it in the car, and hopefully getting this thing running. Thank you for watching. Press like, subscribe, whatever. Thank you.